Hey y'all, it's Lindsay-Schooler here. I honestly don't practice much standard yoga or teach in a traditional way anymore, but I do still love to move my body in these fundamental ways. If you're standing, you can take a big breath in and stretch up, and then take a gentle fold. We're going to step the right foot all the way back and come into a lunge. You can keep the knee lifted or lowered, but maybe rock back and forth, and the hips are on the ball of that back foot. Take some deep breaths, check in with yourself, lengthen, strengthen your spine. So we're strong in the legs here, strong in the legs, stabilizing. And then if you hadn't yet lifted or lowered that knee, maybe you try the shape differently. You can breathe and keep hands low or walk up to the knee. Maybe big, slow windmill circles with the arms, but you can move or be still in any way that you need. Maybe clasp hands, stretch behind. Take a gentle twist if you like. Hand across to the knee. Shake out, circle, stretch wherever you need. Check in with your breath. Check in with your body. Everything is optional. Every moment, movement, stillness, every in-between. We're going to come around, or I am, to a half yogi squat to the left, and you might keep both feet planted and stay up high. You might feel the need to take a twist here or not. We can press down through the legs, strong as if we're going to stand up, however high or low we are, and then come up through center and to stand with feet, knees turned out, goddess pose or horse stance. Move in the body, wiggle the hips, shift side to side, feel what you can feel. Maybe dip one shoulder forward and the other a time or two. Strong in the legs. And then we're going to take that half yogi squat to the second side, and maybe you just leaned over a little bit from that goddess pose. Maybe you take a twist or not here, only going as low as you can, safely, comfortably to the edge of that comfort. And then we'll come around to the lunge to the second side, facing the back. Knee can be lifted or lowered, maybe rocking a bit forward and back. How does it feel to get stronger in the legs and lift the chest? How does it feel to have the head lowered versus the head and heart lifted? You could experiment with straightening the leg or dropping the knee. Checking in with your body, checking in with your breath. Maybe taking a twist on this side or circling the arm. You could be lifted in the twist or stay in this low lunge twist. Remember last time I came upright for that. If you want to come upright now, you can, and windmill the arms or just take a stretch, hands overhead or to the hips or the low back. Deep breaths here, strong in the legs and wrapping around the core, the torso to lift the chest. Of course, you could always have stayed low, hands on the ground. You can come to down dog to experiment, or child's pose if you know it. You can pedal out the feet if you're in down dog. We can all rock the hips, relax the head and neck. Roll forward to a plank for a few breaths. You could always have the knees on the ground or legs straight. You can be on fists if it's hard, for palms, if it's hard on the wrists. You can take a big stretch and up and over. Feet can be staggered quite a bit. And shift side to side a few times. Really lifting the hips and tucking that bottom side waist up and in, and breathing length and strength up and down our spines. Remember, you can be on forearms or palms. Knees can eventually drop, and we can roll down in and out of some baby cobras. So press all of your toenails into the ground. Activate the legs. Press down through the hips. Squeeze around the waist to protect the low back. We're light on the hands here, rolling up on an inhale, rolling down on an exhale, or maybe hovering at some point. Hands can be forward a bit or out or tucked in towards the ribs, light on those fingertips. Or if you want to straighten the arms, lifting the thighs and legs for up dog. Otherwise, bending the elbows and grounding the lower body in cobra. You can stay really low or come up as high as feels like a healthy edge for you. You can come up and back to child's pose, or maybe cat and cow in tabletop. Here, I was just feeling called to have a seat, lengthen out, and fold forward. So maybe that is feeling interesting for your body, or maybe you intuitively came into some other shape to rest on your belly flat, or to go up and back to child's pose, or maybe you're moving through some cat and cow and tabletop, or circling your spine around. Wherever we're at, we can soften the eyes or stretch the eyes, stretch the jaw, roll our eyes, stretch our face, check in with our breath. Can move or be still any way you want or need, of course. I'm going to come around onto my back here and start to slow bicycle my feet. I'm going to take them forward and back, wide and weird, side to side, crisscross. Deep breathing. Maybe you want to straighten the legs, a big scissor kick, double pulse at the extension, and then slow to switch. Maybe slower than I'm doing here. I start to kind of internally rotate the legs, crisscrossing the feet across at their most extended point. So opening wide on the switch. And you can keep the upper body resting, or you might lift up or support your head. Whenever you feel like you need a break, maybe Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together, and arms overhead, or hands can rest on the body, but come to the breath. Stay in that as long as you like. Maybe lift the hips for bridge next. So feet are turned straight ahead, hips distance. Arms walk close together beneath you so that you're on the shoulders and not the neck. Lifting the chest. I'm rocking my hips here a little side to side, but you might just lift straight up and lower whenever you need. And I'm going to come into a bridge. If it's in your practice, you can go for it. Or sorry, a wheel. You can come into another bridge, or if you come into wheel, my fingers are stretched far apart. My toes are turned forward. I'm pressing equally and strong into hands and feet and breathing here. And back bends feel naturally kind of healthy for me to practice, but not every or even many bodies are built this way. So every moment of our yoga practice is an invitation to just explore what we need, body, mind, heart, and soul that day. What is our energy feeling? How does it feel in our body and our breath? So whenever you're ready to come out of whatever shape you were in, maybe you already stretched out long on the ground, or maybe you hug knees in for some dozen deep, slow breaths. Maybe you feel called to rock a little side to side, or come into a twist, or move in any specific way. And it's not about using our analytical mind to figure that out so much as just coming to the breath, letting our awareness melt from the head down into the body via the breath, and simply breathing deeply and almost getting out of our own way to let our body move however it needs. I'm taking a happy baby pose here. You can grab behind the knees if that feels better. Legs can be bent or straight, or you can experiment with rocking side to side. And we want the low back and the head resting, grounded though. Maybe you want to come back to that bound angle shape, or stay in that happy baby stretch, or take feet out wide or towards the sky, or just resting on the ground with soles of the feet together and arms overhead, or hands on the body, any shape that you may need. And you can keep resting here, of course, or coming into any other shape you're feeling called to. You can turn the video off or pause it and take a nice long shavasana if you want to just lay there and breathe for a minute or 5 or 10. I'm going to come upright to a seated wide leg forward fold. It's just what was feeling called in my body as I've been walking outside almost all day, every day the past week with all of our dogs. So my hips are a bit tight, and I felt like I wanted to stretch them open quite a bit here. If you take seated wide leg forward fold, you might have the feet quite a bit closer together. You could have knees bent or pillows under each. You could lean a little side to side and breathe. And my legs are relatively active here. My feet are flexed, and I'm really hugging kind of my legs in towards my body a bit as I'm also pressing out through my feet. So I'm strong and stable in my base is what I want to say. Strong and stable in the base and the core, and rooting down through that seat to then lift and lengthen the spine. If you wanted to fold forward, maybe checking on your toes, that all 10 of your toenails are turned towards you. Maybe just taking the next minute to breathe and give thanks. Thank you for this breath, this body. Thank you to our present selves for taking this time, these moments to practice, to do what we need, to breathe And maybe your body's feeling called to come out of that at some point. You could curl yourself up into a little ball sitting, or take a squat on your way out of your practice. My feet felt like they needed to find a way. See, I'm rolling them in and out here. And my feet were smashed when I was a kid. All the bones were broken, and so I still work with them quite a bit. And it's important because they're the very foundation of our entire skeletal system. So it's giving thanks for our toes, thanks for the space between our toes, thanks for our hands, for our feet, for this body, this breath, this life. Thank you to the land that we each stand upon, to all who've walked this land before us. We thank you, we honor you. Thank you to our ancestors, all who are aligned and aiding us in our greatest and highest good. Thank you to the ancient roots of this practice and of ourselves. Thank you. Thank you.